Hey, you! Yes, you! This video is about you and the things you want, whatever that is. Money, expensive cars, the job of your dreams, traveling around the world, I simply don't care. And here is the interesting part. Everything I'm going to tell you in this video can be summed up in just one sentence. You will never achieve it. And now I'll tell you why. Suppose this is you and here is everything you've always dreamed of. And in the middle there is a wall, a barrier that stands between you and the things you desire, and this barrier is what we know as life. As we all know, every time you try to achieve what you want, life intervenes and you crash head-on into it. Now, I know you've heard this analogy 1,000 times, but I assure you that until today they haven't told you something else, and that is that this barrier is not static. Its height and thickness change constantly. What do I mean? Well, crashing into life hurts, right? So usually every time you crash into it, you back off. But the real problem is that after you give up, the wall thickens, and from that moment, breaking it down will require more energy. Let me explain it to you with a specific example. You are 21 years old, and your dream is to become a doctor. So you apply to college, but guess what? You get rejected. Then you give up. You reach the wall and got discouraged. You face the reality head-on and retreated. 10 years later, you remember your dream and want to try again, but now you have a family. And in addition to passing the admission exam, you must ensure that you can afford your career without jeopardizing your household's finances. Another 10 years pass, you are 41 and you want to try again, but now in addition to worrying about costs and the admission exam, and you being older, you realize that your current job does not leave you much free time and it would be impossible for you to attend classes and study for your exams. There comes a time when the wall is so thick and you have become so weakened that it becomes impossible to move forward and you die without achieving your degree or any other things you set out to do. Go review the things you have tried and abandoned in the past, and you will realize that if you want to resume them, you will have to invest more money, time, or energy. And the worst part is that if you wait until tomorrow, it will be even harder. Now, here is something else you need to know. The thickness and height of this wall not only increase every time you abandon a project, but they are also greater depending on two very important factors. The first one is the size of your desires. If, for example, you dream of having a coffee at Starbucks, you just have to walk a couple blocks to achieve it. The wall that life imposes on you to fulfill the dream is very thin, almost non-existent. But if your dream is to open your own coffee shop, the wall is much thicker and therefore harder to get through. Now, if this hasn't blown your mind yet, pay attention because what's coming surely will. The second factor that alters the thickness and height of the wall that prevents you from achieving what you want is at the same time the most important: your skills. Returning to the Starbucks coffee example, for you it might just be an aspiration that only requires a 5-minute walk to the nearest coffee shop. But for someone with the same dream who lives in a country where Starbucks is not available, it's much harder. They'll probably need to use more tools than their feet and make bigger decisions to fulfill that dream. So, let's transfer this example to the professional world. Suppose you're looking for a job as an administrative assistant. You speak 3 languages, have superb management of different CRMs, understand project management, and have 8 years of accumulated experience in the sector. With this profile, being accepted as an administrative assistant in almost any company is not a problem for you. If an opportunity arises and you apply, it is very likely that you will get the position. The wall that separates you from that goal is very thin. But now suppose you want to get the same job but you can't read or write. How thick do you think the wall that separates you from your dream is? In short, how much energy you need to invest and how persistent you need to be to get what you want depends on the size of your goal and the tools you possess. That is, at the same time, the key to fulfill your dreams and the reason why you never get things done. Now, the question is there a way to make things simpler? Well, at this point, conventional wisdom tells you that you have to persist and you have to keep hitting the wall over and over again without backing off until you break it down. You know, the famous speech about unbreakable discipline. Bullshit. If you've been paying attention, you'll have realized that hitting a thick wall will only give you headaches. But what if we make the wall we need to break down thinner? You dream of being an administrative assistant but can't read or write? If we go by conventional wisdom, then I would have to tell you something like keep persisting, apply to more job offers, go to more interviews, don't give up, persist because every no brings you closer to a yes. But the reality is that you won't achieve anything by applying to job offer after job offer if you don't even possess the basic skills. What you have to do is divide your dream of being an administrative assistant into smaller dreams that are more suitable to the skills you possess. You can't read or write, but you can't hold a pencil in your hand? So your first dream should be to learn to read and write. This is a thinner wall, which with work and dedication, you will be able to break down more easily. Once you can read and write, you go for a thicker wall. Learn basic computing. Then you learn languages. After that, project management or filing techniques. And little by little you break down thicker and thicker walls until you inevitably achieve what you want. The difference here is that instead of trying to knock down a single thick wall with your fists, you dedicate yourself to knocking down thinner walls using tools, aka increasing your skills. That's the key. Now, to apply this advice to other areas in your life, just replace administrative assistant with anything you can think of. I don't care what it is. Money, expensive cars, the job of your dreams, traveling around the world, I don't care. Divide it into smaller dreams and knock down thinner walls until you eventually achieve your main goal. It's that simple. Not easy, but simple. But hey, don't go yet. This video isn't free. You owe me a like, a comment, and by the way, subscribe to the channel. Ready? Great. Have a good one.